Okay, well, hopefully you have saved the document that you used the other day that you submitted for your homework assignment that's due today. So let's pick it up where we left off. Okay, so you've got your picker productivity sheet that pretty much should hopefully look something like this. Again, you've got 12 pickers, you've got hours worked by picker, you've got locations picked by picker, and then you've got total numbers of units that are actually being picked. Okay. Additionally, you summed up the hours, the locations, and the units. Now, we're going to do something maybe a little bit cosmetic before we move on to anything else. So, the first thing I guess that I'd like you to take a look at would be column B here. Okay. Column B is our hours worked column. Okay. If you can remember, we summed up everything. The numbers all look rather different. There might be a couple of duplicates in there. Two people, Gertrude and Hazel, they worked a straight up 8 hours. Mike and Rex, they worked 8.1. But one of the things that you'd probably want to do in a spreadsheet like this is you might want to make some of these numbers look a bit more uniform as opposed to not having any sort of decimals and then other ones that probably might need a decimal in order to make them look uniform. So here's what you're going to do. I want you to highlight all of the hours worked, including the sum, and I want you to highlight away. Okay, so you've got every single hour worked and the sum of all of the hours worked highlighted. At this point, I want you to take a look right up here where you've got a decrease decimal places and an increase decimal places in the ribbon that you see up here. And we're going to play around with this for just a little bit. Our largest number down here and here have 3 decimal places. Very accurate. However, I'll tell you that unfortunately it is not one that is perhaps, I guess, it's not very pretty to look at. Very accurate, but not pretty to look at. So let's see what happens if we hit increase decimal places, okay? So all of a sudden, every single decimal is now at the 3 digits, okay? 3 digits. Now, it might be a little bit overkill that you see here, 3 digits. Do you really need to know that it's 8.00000? No, probably not. But 7.125 or 7 1/8 is actually a pretty decent number to actually keep. But again, we're all about uniformity when we're talking today. So we've increased our decimal. You can decrease them, as it says right up here, by merely clicking on this button up here. So now, all of a sudden, we're down to 2 decimal places. As you saw, down here and here, these were 2 numbers that were rounded up. Okay, it will automatically round them. So you're still getting a fairly accurate number, however, not quite as accurate as taking it out to 4, 5, 6, 7 decimal places. But you can decrease it. If you really want to make it look a lot less busy, you can decrease it 1 more. Okay, and then we get something that looks like that. Okay, again, if you see a whole bunch of numbers staring at you in the face on a spreadsheet, you are probably going to, I would say, glaze over. So we don't want that, whether you're the one looking at it or someone else is going to be looking at it. So I'm a big fan of merely having 2 decimal places. So that's what we got right there. Okay, and then let's take a look here. We've got numbers, okay? A lot bigger numbers than what you see in terms of the hours worked, okay? So if you've got your locations and your units picked, it probably, because you've got a couple of 4-digit numbers in here, it might make sense to perhaps put a comma in these. Now, does that mean you have to go in to cell D9 in order to type in a comma? No, you're not going to want to do that. Are you going to want to do that for down here in C14 and D14? No. Do we want to do it in D2? No, we don't want to do it there either. Here's what we are going to do, however. We are going to highlight, again, highlight every single number that is in column C and column D. Okay? Now, what I'm going to tell you is going to be a little bit different. Unfortunately, we do not have a little button up here just to click, and then all of a sudden we'll have a comma in there. But what we are going to do is, okay, and I want you to remember this. When you right-click a spreadsheet, either in Google Sheets or in Microsoft Excel, that's oftentimes when all of the exciting stuff starts to happen. And we are going to, at this point, with everything highlighted right there, we are going to right-click, okay? Actually, we're going to scratch that, sorry. We're going to format, okay? We're going to click Format. Again, let's take a look at that. We're going to highlight everything in C2 and from the range of C2 up in the upper left-hand corner down here to D14. And then we are going to click Format, okay? I want you to go down here and click Number, okay? And you are then going to go to the right, and you are going to notice that you could have it as a percent, as a scientific number, as an accounting number. There's all sorts of exciting ways that you can put it. However, in the case of this, we are going to treat it as a number because, as you see, you have that nice little comma in there for you. Okay? So let's click on that. And then all of a sudden, you will see, lo and behold, we have commas. However, we did get a bunch of zeros because that is indeed what it told us we were actually going to get because it had zeros at the end of it. If you look at it again, format, number, okay, it's got automatically defaulted to it 2 decimal places. Again, I think that's messy, and it's making it really messy because none of our numbers here had any sort of decimal places actually being used. So here's what we'll do, just like we did on our hours worked column. Okay, we're going to highlight everything, and then we are going to decrease our decimals. Okay, so here we are. We've got commas, no decimals. Okay, then over here we have decimal places. They are all the exact same number of decimals. Okay, so here we are. Here's our spreadsheet. It looks a little cleaner, looks a little bit easier to read, and we've played around with our decimals and our number format. Okay, so here's another thing we're going to do. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to click on the number 1 here. Click on the number 1. Okay, now all of a sudden you see that I have highlighted the entire row number 1. Okay, and that's great. You can do all sorts of things when you highlight it. You'll be able to do it to column A, column B, column C, column D. Here's what I'd like you to do. I would like you to make it just a little bit prettier. Okay, and what I'd like you to do would be to bold. Okay, bold, love bold, stands out, very nice. Okay, then here's what I'm going to have you do. Okay, everything right there is nicely colored. Okay, but what I want you to do next is I want you to click Format. Okay, I want you to click Format. You've highlighted everything right here, Format. Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go down to text wrapping. Okay, if you remember, I might have said the word that it looks like some of these things when they were like this, that they were overflowing their boxes, when it looked like that. Okay. Now, all of a sudden, we've got plenty of space, okay, and it's wide, but sometimes you might want to, maybe make it a little bit less wide, but still have all of the same information. Well, you can do that a couple different ways, and the first way that you can do that is by having the text wrap, okay? Again, let's highlight, okay, and then we are going to click on Format, and then we are going to click text wrapping. You get these three things that pop up over here, and we are going to click wrap. Now, has anything exciting happened right there? No. But what I will tell you is that if you then, again, highlight B, C, and D in terms of columns, I'm going to ask that you go to the border between any of the columns, and then I want you to left click it, and I want you to drag it to the right. Drag it to the right. Okay? By doing that, you have all of a sudden allowed these fields that once were very long, you have now formatted them in a way that allows them to actually wrap around. Okay, so I'm going to pause right here because I actually have class. So I'm going to hit